Here we go. Hannah Bosserman and Holly Aitchison, they've ran out here on so many massive occasions, but with different badges on their jerseys and with different butterflies in their stomachs. They know where there might just be chinks in Saracens' vaunted armour, but their opponents know them inside out as well. Bosserman has won 3 titles with this side, the most decorated in the league's history. She's been intrinsic to their storied success. But now it's her turn to have a crack at Saracens. And with that man at the helm, Dave Ward, Bristol really will be a force to be reckoned with this season. And now the hosts, led by their skipper, and running out before one of the biggest crowds they have ever experienced here, looking to maintain that immaculate start to their season. And there she is, young Amelia McDougall, making just her 4th start and up against England's current fly-half. Katie Daly-McLean, you've achieved everything there is to achieve with 10 on your back. How intriguing is the presence of that young lady?
Yeah, it's a big old pressure for her today, isn't it? But like you say, 4th star, she's got a lot of experience around her. Marley Packer, Ella Vivas in there, so she'll be well looked after. But it is a good test, isn't it? Current England fly half, to see where she's at.
One of the many tasty head-to-heads all over the pitch today. Christmas is a time for overindulgence, and we have been spoilt by everybody present here this afternoon. A marker of the magnitude of this one is that woman there, Sarah Cox, making her first PWR appearance of the season, having been busy overseeing Gallagher Premiership and Challenge Cup fixtures recently, with Callum Howard and Ryan Collier alongside, and Nikki O'Donnell on TMO duties. Don't let the reindeer fool you. The next 80 minutes are all about the wolf pack and the bears. This is 1st versus 3rd, Saracens versus Bristol, the Christmas cracker, and I suspect it's about to go off with a bang. A moment of calm. It's Saracens in the black, those famous black strips, playing from right to left, and the kickoff received immediately by Negrelli. One prodigious young talent to another. McDougall with the kickoff, and now through the hands of Burns onto Aitchison. This is Reed, one of the co-captains, tipping it on to Phoebe Murray, who's at outside centre this afternoon. Burns goes again. She's got Georgia Evans for company, playing in Saracens' engine room, the Welsh international. And there's the other co-captain, Abby Ward, with a fend and a trundle and a whole heap of work already. Aitchison onto Gallagher. We heard from Katie and Jenny pre-match about the wealth of new signings arriving in the West Country. Gallagher, one of those. Such a live wire, the open side. Aitchison again, onto Marston Mulhern, and now Murray looking to find space. It's had to be caught on the volley by Hesketh there. A late change for Bristol. No Deborah Wills, she's unwell, so Hesketh promoted from the bench. And Renika Bonner wears 23. Saracens have turned it over, but it's knocked on. We'll have a scrum.
Yeah, I mean, we've got exactly what we thought. The Bristol way of playing, edge to edge. They want to move the ball. I think what Bristol, for me, have to be really careful of is when they're doing this. You know, we've just seen they've gone touchline to touchline, but they haven't really gone forward. What we're going to want to see is them really starting to make chinks into Starries and get in behind them. That'll make it a bit of an easier day for those forwards.
Oh, is it GPS? Oh, okay. Oh no, she lost it down her back now. Some extra high-speed meters, wasn't it? There we go. Time on.
Well, I'm alongside an 116-time Red Rose, who's one of the greatest backs of her generation. But for now, it's all about the forwards, because this front row battle, Katie, is about to be so intriguing.
Yeah, it's huge, isn't it? That first scrum is always the one where people want to set a marker, you know. Got some battles, Bottomman, Clifford, Burnham Rose, and then the hookers of Akin Davies and Campbell. It's going to be fascinating.
Well, it's first blood to the Bristolians, and Marston Mulhern setting off from the base, but she's well enveloped. Poppy Cleal making sure the tackle was made and just slowing that first phase for Bristol. No side in the PWR likes as much possession as this. 63% they've been averaging all season long. They had over 70 last week. So they'll be patient, ball in hand. And in turn, Saracens will know to expect it.
Come, all clear. Just a little bit quicker.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, penalty there, but ultimately Bristol are going backwards. Sarries are a very, very good defensive side and will be very comfortable to just let Bristol hold the ball. And when you've got the likes, if you saw Georgia Evans there on your screen, but Marley Packer, who are very good at the breakdown, if Bristol don't look after the ball, could be a long day.
Well, it's exhausting. They're playing into the wind as well, so it'll be an energy-sapping opening 40. It's the two best lineouts in the league going toe-to-toe, but that's not what we're seeing out on the pitch in front of us because it's lost. And Marley Packer places it backwards as Saracens look to effect their first real attacking probe of the afternoon. Gregson pulled down in the 5-metre channel. Tackle needed to be made. McDowell leaps high, pirouettes upon landing. And down the short side they go. This is De Goody. Oh, she's beautiful in full flight. De Goody breaks the first tackle, gets it away. Gregson twirling and swirling and offloading, and it's a dream start for the hosts. Jess Breach looking so at home with 15 on her back and making it count.
She really did, didn't she? As we've seen previously from Sarries, once they're in behind, once they're in that open bit of space, how easy it looks for them. But for me, that try was made by Ella Vivas and Sophie De Goody on that short side. Just a little spotted that lone defender. Remember, she's come from an athletics background, Sophie De Goody. Loves the running, and then it's just that support. Once they're in behind, they don't let the ball die. They keep it moving. Great flood support from Jess Breach. But here we see a ball in two hands, takes the outside, and again, it's just that ability to don't go into touch, stay away from the touchline, get the ball back inside. And it's probably one of the easier tries Jess Breach will have scored.
Tries good, Coxie.
Oh, thanks, Nick.
It's tricky conditions these, and De Goody's only been striking the ball at 50% today. Good effort. Just drifts wide. Katie, take us inside a kicker's head on a day like today. How difficult, how devilishly difficult are those place kicks going to be?
It can be, but it'll all depend on the way the wind is. I think Sarries, from where we're standing, look like they've got the wind. I think what's difficult is sometimes as a kicker, you start to worry about the wind when actually you just need to focus on your process. If anything, your process becomes even more important then, and I wonder whether Sophie De Goody there's just got her head up a little bit early and just thought about the wind rather than just kicking through that ball.
It's a deep restart that's gathered by McDougall. Head up, eyes alight, just looking for space, but all she could find was Ella Lovettbond, the England under-20. This now is Gallagher. She's a proper pocket rocket, makes every ounce of her Scottish self count. Now Bristol have some territory and the penalty too.
Roll east to west, not north to south. Out you come. Number 2.
Aitchison with a dainty dink. Means that Lark Atkin-Davies will be 10 metres out.
Big throw for this one, for Lark, this one, isn't it? She overthrew that first line out, second line out, this close. Bristol will want to get into their drive and maul setup.
This is where 60% of their scores originate, and it's absolutely pinpoint toward Saracens with a hefty counter drive, but now just starting to go through the gears is the maul. Black jerseys splintering off, there's the advantage. They've a free hit here now, Bristol.
Number 8.
Referee's patience wears thin.
Number 8.
So back to the corner they go. Unsurprising?
Not at all.
On the line. You started legal and then released your bind and came round, all right?
One hand here, keep the gap.
Bears looking to strike back immediately with something they drill and drill and drill. Down it comes. Atkin-Davies, the World Rugby Dream Teamer, comes and joins a pretty dreamy pack, which now begins to rumble.
No, 8 out!
The ball is up the jumper and down it comes. Bears respond.
And 8.
And of course it's Lark Atkin-Davies, leading try scorer, 2 seasons on the bounce, sewing it up and making it count.
It's going to be a really integral part of the game, this. I think we're going to see a lot of it today. You know, both sides very, very good. That lady on our screen is top Premiership try scorer, and it's not for our running game, shall we say. But here we see, you know, Abby Ward again in there, but it's this shift. You can see how they've moved the ball. Ro Marsden at the moment has got that ball, and it goes, transfers back to Lark. By doing that, she's isolated all those Saris forwards away from the ball, which is really important because they're trying to get round the corner. They're trying to get into that 10 and 12. And you saw Poppy Clean, I think, earlier, the referees talking to her about her bind. But for me, this is going to be a really big battle.
Thanks, Nick.
Wide it goes. We remain all locked up here at the StoneX, 5 apiece.
I get your point. I get your point about the roll. Not there, though. She has to come out quicker first.
We've got Dave Ward just to our right here in commentary, and he's not quiet, is he, Katie?
He's not at all, no. Very, very, very animated in this opening, 8 minutes.
The impact he's had upon the programme cannot be overstated. He arrived 2 years ago after Bears had finished a season down in 8th. They've hit the semi-finals twice in a row. But it's about that next step. It's about starting to take big scalps and doing it on the road.
Still back.
Saracens ball to play with. That was well gathered. Ferocious contest at the breakdown.
No, you're in the side now.
Reed just told to retract there, get her paws off it. And now, oh, the snatch, the steal, locks up, meant to make intercepts like that. Abby Ward's brought down, but a moment of magic from the Bears co-captain. The ensuing pass is messy. Clapp makes the tackle on volley. Burns onto Byrne. Bristol now just taking a beat, taking a moment to assess their options, but it also gives Saracens time to set their defensive line. The pass is flat and fizzing, and here is Hesketh. Burgess, excellent service, whips it out to the interceptor extraordinaire, Ward. What a moment that was. That goes straight on the highlights reel. That doesn't. Saracens get away with that one.
They do, but one intercept from Abby Ward. Of all the people, like you say, when we see it, it's going to come up on your screens now. But, I mean, that girl, her ability to understand rugby here, you know, she knows what's happening from Jess Breach, and she just gets in that passing lane. I think then she realised that was the 10 and not the 5. And she had 40 metres to go. But it's just a really good read, isn't it? It's smart, it's getting out the line, it's relieving pressure, especially when you're defending for multiple phases. And this is what her team need. They need her to lead from the front today.
Crouch!
Well, somewhere in that muscular pack of bodies
Bind!
is Abby Ward. Suspect she'll be dining out on that one. Roast with all the trimmings. And do you remember that time I managed an intercept against Saracens? Poppy Cleal. Parking all past friendships with Holly Aitchison there and just thumping into the Bristol fly half. The Olympian with such a decorated sevens history too. Just taken to the 15s game like a duck to water.
Use the ball.
As Virvas picks out Galligan. Defensive pressure from Bristol, excellent. Just forcing Saracens to pick those one-up runners. Asking the questions as Gregson, who's in such a purple patch, makes some significant inroads. There's the turnover. The Bristol coaches liked it to our right.
They did. Again, it's really smart, isn't it? It's that lady Evie Gallagher that we talked about. You know, we've seen her ball in hand a couple of times. Now showing what she can do when she's in defence. And this is what Bristol, if Bristol are going to win today, this is what they've got to win. They've got to win the key moments. They've got to win the breakdown, and they've got to keep Sarries playing deep. And for me, it's just really good sevens work here, isn't it? You know, she's holding her feet, she's waiting, she lets Ro Marsden make that tackle, and she's in. Potentially a question of hands on the floor before she takes the ball, but referee didn't see it.
I should mention that there's no Alicia Butchers in the back row today because she got married yesterday, so congratulations to Alicia and to Jazz Joyce. Probably the best reason you can have for missing a big PWR clash. Another penalty goes the way of the visitors.
Yeah, I mean, the last, I think, 3 or 4 have gone all... There's 5 penalties there that have all gone against Sarries, and this is where Marley Packer probably has to get hold of them, especially when you're getting into your 22, pressure builds, referees ends up going to cards, also just allows that pressure to build on you.
3. Come here. Oh, sorry, I thought you were there. Excuse me. Right, on the end of the line there, please.
Bristol, their 3rd entry into the 22. They've come away with 1 try and been turned over once. What will they manage on this occasion? Looking to hit the front for the first time against the 3-time champions. Well, this is making progress.
Say more. Say more. Yeah, you're okay.
They're able to keep it in there. The drill's so slick. Abby Ward knowing exactly what to do at the back of that one. Just the experience. Look at the names on the back of those jerseys. Byrne is in there, Ward is in there, Marston Mulhern. It's an abundance of brutal brilliance. And out of nowhere, Phoebe Murray produces a perler. We were entranced by the physicality, but it was the delicacy from Amber Reid and the nous of Murray to pop up and dot it down.
Yeah, I mean, we're in for a game, aren't we? I mean, Bristol have come here to play. For me, that was made by Bristol's pack. They're smart, accurate, patient. The build was lovely, the way they kept a hold of the ball. Probably not going to see it here, but penalty advantage. Amber Reid, that was planned. They were ready. Great little nudge. The weight of that kick to thread it through space and just allow it not to go dead. And her and Phoebe Murray, we know, are very connected, have played a lot of time. It's a really good finish, that, isn't it? Very, very good skills.
Outstanding spatial awareness, not so much there in the conversion, which is hurtled to the left, but done brilliantly as well because it's a tiny dead ball area.
It really is, and if you see again, it's just a touch, isn't it? It's just a lovely little weight, something that no doubt they've wrecked on the training ground. Then they've realised penalty advantage, free ball, let's play. If not, we'll go back to the line now. Lovely little touch by Amber Reid.
Well, head over heels, that ball goes from McDougall on to Aitchison. The woman who last occupied that 10 jersey here at the StoneX. Tricky pass. Marston Mulhern manages to scoop it up. Burgess sends it short to Byrne. He does what Sarah Byrne so often does, but not before it can be stolen.
No, don't lean over.
The women in black have it. And Campbell with a meaty chug right up the guts of that white jersey defensive line. Now Galligan scampering infield. Reid watched her, marked her, knew that Marston Mulhern was on her insides. Fingertip stuff from De Goody on to Gregson, who's popped up on the wing, shuttles it back inside. And Canada's captain now very well wrapped up. Another penalty. These are proving costly.
They really aren't then. It's interesting for Sarries because I wonder how much they've experienced this, kind of being the underdog at the moment. They're not getting a lot of referee decisions, they're not having a lot of territory, they're not having a lot of possession. This is where your leaders, your Poppy Cleals, your Marley Packers have really got to kind of stand up and be counted now. If you watch it here, it's a little bit loose, isn't it? A bit scrappy. Sophie De Goody turns, goes well, but again, 2 Bristol players straight over the ball, win the space, win the speed. And there's only one decision to be made there.
I got that, but what I thought there was that she became isolated. They were on their feet, they were in a power position, and they stole the ball. And if she had let go of it, they'd come away with it. I get your point, absolutely valid, but that one there, I was very happy that she stole it.
Yes, it's interesting, isn't it? Lottie Clapp there just talking to the referee, Sarah Cox, about whether the hands are going past the ball and whether the defender's going straight onto the ball. I think probably Sarah Cox is looking back to the first one that Evie Gallagher got, where she's basically gone past the ball, you've gone onto the ground, which you're not allowed to do. You've got to land in contact with the ball. She's happy that that previous decision was that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens now and whether the referee is influenced by that conversation.
Atkin-Davies again, just about overthrowing that one. It allows Campbell to gather. Reed wrestles her to the floor, but it's quick ball from Vivas onto her number 8, Cleo. Down it falls, back we come.
It's a knock on.
So just to reacquaint you with the front rows that we're working with today, it's Kelsey Clifford, May Campbell and Donna Rose, a pair of red roses and a Welsh woman, and then Hannah Bottoman, Lark Atkin-Davies and Sarah Byrne.
I heard you.
Spoiled for choice.
You really aren't you? And there's some really good battles in there, you know. Bottoman, Clifford in there, Campbell, Atkin-Davies, Red Rose battles that you obviously want to see. But, you know, I think the front rows they're interesting because these aren't your traditional just scrummaging. They're the front rows that want to be in the open field. They want to carry, they want to run. I mean, we know about Bottoman and Byrne, but Donna Rose, very, very good for Saris. We haven't seen any of that really because Saris haven't had the ball. But I think that's what makes these packs so different. They're not just about set piece, they offer the all-round game.
Spoke to Dave Ward in the week and he said that he'd be quite comfortable playing Sarah Byrne at centre if he ever needed her to play there. We know that she's a back rower turned
Coxie, there's
front
no foul play
rower.
for that injury to 8.
We can see Abby Ward on our pictures there, but I believe it's time to get some thoughts from Dave Ward.
You did have a fair stoppage there,
It's
mate.
not, apologies, he's got a headset on, but I think that's one of his in-house Bristol Bears one. We will hear from Dave a little bit later on, but we'll get a good look at him now. What's he saying at this point, Katie? Is this just a case of continue with what's working so far?
I think so. I mean, we can obviously hear him live and something happened to that line-out that's made him pretty angry. So I would have thought there'll be a lot of that. But yeah, he's got to be the happy of two coaches. Bristol are ahead, but they've had a lot of possession, a lot of territory.
Crouch!
Probably a couple more conversions he would have liked.
Bind! Set! Steady!
Down they pack, white against black. Looks a real shove from Bristol, but Saracens just about managed to get it away and on to Sophie Bridger. It's Cleel now. Making dents in that defensive line onto Galligan. Carries coming in are so hard and destructive. Bristol really forced to concertina and make those double hits. The latest one from Clifford. It's a lovely tip pass onto Galligan. Back playing for Saracens. And again, the referee seeing things in one direction today. Bristol are having a party on the ground.
They're winning the breakdown at the moment, aren't they? And I think Saris really probably have to identify that. I think probably what's happening at the moment, if we see Rosie Galligan's carry, she's coming around isolated. So it's just allowing Bristol that breathing space to get over the ball. And then the likes of Sarah Byrne, who are very, very difficult to move, are getting that turnover. I think we're just going to see it now. You see here she comes isolated by herself, kind of lost her support. And as soon as she's done that, Sarah Byrne is in a good position over the ball. It means she's won the height. It's very difficult for them Saris girls to get underneath her and move
You
her.
asked me about gap, and you're here to set the gap, okay? So it's your gap, all right? Saracens, you stay on your mark, please.
I don't think anyone moves Sarah Byrne against her will, really. She tends to just do what she wants on a rugby pitch. Reed, inside ball is delicate onto Nigarelli. The England under-20 who missed so much of last season with a shoulder injury but has made up for it in spades so far this year. She kicks too, she does it all. Balls through the hands of Loverbond. The tackle comes in, no, and the touchline doesn't miss any of those.
Thrown across and then landed on a lifter.
but we were playing under an advantage, so back we come, and Aitchison has a chance to get a bit more distance on this touch finder.
Yeah, definitely. It's probably a bit easier as well because she's closer to the touchline now, not kicking from the middle of the pitch, which, when it's windy, can be tricky.
Better.
Much better.
What a 12 months it has been for that woman there, occupying that 10 jersey for the Red Roses in that Six Nations Grand Slam, nominated for Player of the Championship.
Put that on the outside.
But nothing she can do about that.
I feel like it's getting I can have a look.
Yeah, it's an easy call, that, isn't it, for the referee. Caught by your outside arm, was never ever going to be down the channel or straight.
Keep the height, okay? Keep elbows up and we'll keep height. Crouch! Bind! Set!
Ella Vivas feeds that ravenous Saracens pack, and speaking of appetite, here's Cleel, managing to get the offload away. McDougall reckons she spotted an opportunity in the centre of the field. Lovibond, all in two hands. She's slender, but she packs a punch when she drops the shoulder like that and carries into contact. Here is Delaney Burns, one of the newest Red Roses, capped in the Six Nations. Atkin Davies on to Reed, one of the World Cup winners we've got to enjoy this afternoon, and Varley. Saracens really fighting on the floor here, but again...
Once you finish the contest, you've got to come back round, okay?
9th penalty going against the hosts. How long do we have until we see a card?
I think it's going to be where the penalties are being given. I think if these penalties are in the 22, that massively changes referees' decisions, because they're in and around the middle and not really affecting the play too much. But yeah, I think 9 penalties is a lot when you're going for one side.
If they were to continue at this rate, they'd have 36 by full time.
Saracens, you're on the end of the
We
line.
definitely see some cards by then.
On the end of the line, please. In you can, Bristol, just a little bit. Okay.
It's a third overthrown line out from the best line out in the land. They're definitely putting pressure on it, Saracens, as Bridger finds her midfield partner of Gregson. Now this is Corinne Grant, the Scotland international, adds a couple of beaten defenders to her season's tally. Knock on.
Oh, you can almost feel the deflation, can't you? It was Sarries at their best, as we have seen them in the build-up to this game, you know, free-flowing, moving the ball so well. Just see it here, overthrow. Marley Packer acts as that pivot, and then once those backs are in free-flowing, you know, moving it into space, Bristol are chasing tails, and there's a clear here out, and I think it's May Campbell there, just gets in that space, doesn't get rid of Evie Gallagher though, and just allows her to come back over the top, gets us an arm of Ella Vivas.
Crouch! Bind!
Bristol overloading the open side here. Everybody out in the space.
No one's in a good position there. Right.
And Sarah Cox taking no prisoners at scrum time.
No, and I think it'd be interesting for the girls, you know. Sarah Cox is a very good referee, like you referenced at the beginning. She's been doing a lot of the men's games. So actually to have the standard in here, I wonder if it's just taken Sarries a little bit of time to get used to what the pictures she's seeing, which potentially are different to what they've been refed in the previous rounds.
Which is then interesting, because Bristol are getting all of those decisions on their part right, so you wonder if that's studying it in the week or it's just the style that they always play.
I think sometimes it's easier as an attacking side to manage the referee at breakdown. It's harder defensively, especially if you want to compete, especially if the momentum is in your favour.
Well, they're the attacking side again, as they have been all afternoon so far. Aitchison played so much rugby with 12 on her back, and carrying like one there draws another penalty. Saracens' discipline is killing them.
It really is, and it's all around tackle and breakdown at the moment, isn't it, for Sarries?
There is contact with the neck, Coxie, but there is no movement by the neck.
So we'll go with the original penalty. Time's off.
Yes, mate.
Sorry.
Well, Sydney Gregson just sorting out a contact lens by the look of it, down on the centre of the field. Something that came up in the week with both coaches that I thought was really interesting, Katie, was they both talked about the importance of going 5-0 this season. Apparently the Holy Grail is to get the bonus point win, but also crucially in these big clashes, limit your opponent to no table points. Is that testament to how competitive the league is growing, that those are now real considerations?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think definitely at the top end of the table, you know, when you come to the business end, so you're looking at them semi-finals, especially with the home semi, we know that no team has never not won an away semi. That makes sense. Then that point difference is going to be huge. You want to be clear away 1 and 2.
I've got to say, as touch finders go, that puts Holly Aitchison straight on the nice list.
It's a great kick, isn't it? It's exactly what your forwards want to be. 5 metres out. Now it's up to them to go do their drill.
Bears line out has faltered in the midfield, but every time they've had a sniff of the whitewash, they've got it absolutely pinpoint. So it proves again. And Saracens know that they've got to do something to disrupt it here. And they've got their work cut out, because look at the white jerseys just inching forwards. There's the shove. Big drive.
Ball is here, it's away.
Down it comes now. Options here. They've got Loverbond right out towards the far touchline. Also Hesketh, but instead they keep it tight. Big sleeves being rolled up. Pummeling away at that line. Saracens know that they've got to be so disciplined here, because here come Bristol hunting for a third. Cox gets a good look at it, but they're held up. Big defensive shift.
That was a really, really smart decision by Poppy Khalil there. You saw her get underneath the ball of Evie Gallagher in the carry, and then basically she just went really soft and almost let Evie Gallagher come back over the line, rather than trying to fight those head-on-head battles. Because of this new law of being able to defensive team then gets a goal line dropout, it's a really good way of relieving pressure.
McDougall with the wind at her back manages to spiral that past the 22.
You got an option.
But it's straight out.
Yep, on the 5.
Yes, if you can see here, Poppy Clear, there she is. She's just got underneath and she just comes back. Yes, Sarah Burns tackling her with her, but because she's under the ball, just allows the Sarries to get possession.
Nice. Perfect. There you go. Right, we've got a ball now. Ideal. Right. Let's start building then, please, ladies. Let's go, let's go. Take it personally.
Bristol's put in 5 metres out. They've got Varley on the near touchline, right out on the far wing is Hesketh. Options on either side, but they've definitely put their ball handlers, their distributors, to the left of the scrum. You can see Aitchison just there. That's a shove. That is a big shove, and that is a big carry from Marston Mulhern, who knows her way to the try line, but has she got the grounding? Again, held up. Saracens stemming the bleeding for now, and it's that woman at the heart of it.
She did really well. I think she was helped by McDougall as well, but you thought that for this, when you look at the pick, the angle we're going to get here, she's trying to get into that 10-12 channel there. She has McDougall's in there, but it's that girl Poppy Cleal straight underneath, gets her body underneath and just rolls her. It's a very, very good bit of defensive work by Poppy Cleal there.
this time. It stays in field, and it's Aitchison. Deals with the bouncing ball. Bears will go again. Saracens will feel like they've been defending for hours out there. Bottoman onto Aitchison, and now Byrne on an incisive line.
Some momentum of the black bears.
Just look at the body swarming the breakdown. It's such a contest. Burgess onto Aitchison, and now Lovibond. They're queuing up to have a go now. Bottoman up against her former club. Burgess with Murray awaiting. Now on to Gallagher. Lovely hands to Lovibond, but little dummy heads inside. Varley's there on the clean out. Bears bit between their teeth. They've been thwarted 3 times in a row now. Score's not changed. Something has done though. Saracens are feeling it.
First time we've seen Bristol get a little bit isolated, and it was that lady on your screen, Sophie de Goody there. Perfect time and great technique, hands under the ball, and it's a very, very easy penalty to be awarded to Saracens. I think the first we've seen.
Rugby is such a game of momentum, pendulum swinging back and forth, and it's swung the way of Saracens, whose director of rugby, Alex Osterbury, I believe, is with Ashley Wilmot, and we'll hear from him in just a moment. But first, let's see what Bears can do on their latest foray into Saracens' half. Aitchison, cute pass from Murray, now onto the wing. That had a hint of the forward about it, but none of our officials agree. Burgess onto Ward.
Good turnover.
Balls turned over. Clifford manages to find de Goody. Always such a threat, ball in hand, the Canadian skipper. And now the teenager with a tricksy little dribble into touch. The ball beats everyone. And now, let's get the thoughts of Alex Osterbury. It'll be fascinating, Ashley Wilmot, to hear what he's made of the last 5 minutes or so.
Thanks, Claire. Yes, I'm with Alex. Alex, you're clapping your hands, you're pleased with that piece of play there, but you've really been pushed this first half. What have you made of what you've seen?
Yeah, we got to create better pictures at the breakdown, obviously more time. I think until that turnover penalty, which was pretty influential for us there, there's a 10-0 count, so we got to create better pictures, understand how things are being officiated, and simply be better, because fair play to Bristol, they've come out and have controlled the first, 30 minutes of this game.
The penalty count is now in double figures against you. What have you made of your team's discipline?
Yeah, I think some of them borderline, some of them pretty obvious and pretty like rugby done penalties to give away. Hopefully we've rectified that in the last few minutes. It's been a lot cleaner, but we've just got to make sure that we stay on the right side of legal and that we understand that we can't give silly things where it's not a clear one, leave it alone and live to fight another battle.
Where on the field can you change the momentum, do you think?
Well, at the minute, it's defensively, wherever we are defending on the field. 2 good stands, holding up over our goal line there, had the ability to change momentum. But we've got to stop this small platform, and we've got to start knocking them backwards. Otherwise, it's going to be a fairly long day of defending. So yeah, we just need to step up. A few big key hits, a few turnover penalties. We'll start to swing things out, hopefully our way.
Thanks for your time, Alex.
Well, he says they need to stop defending, trying to get their hands on the ball a little bit. Stop giving away those silly penalties. Now they have the ball back, and it's McDougall. Questing effort over the top of the defensive line onto Lovibond. Aitchison covers the ground so elegantly and pops up to split the backfield. Breach calls for it. She's got Grant on her right, but she's got carrying on her mind. It's what she does. Grant's there in support. There's been a real turn in this one. Suddenly, Saracens look a little bit more like the side we know they are. McDougall. He plays with such confidence. She's not skipped a beat on this fast stage. The 18-year-old with the carry, and then the World Player of the Year. It's a variety of levels of experience. And it's Bristol who get it back.
Yeah, Saris do look a little bit rattled, don't they, than most we've probably ever seen. And I think, like we've seen, Alex has kind of touched on there, they're just not getting the rub of the green at the moment, you know. Sophie de Goody's such safe hands, just an uncharacteristic error.
collector's item, a mistake from Sophie de Goody. She's just so pinpointing all that she does. But of course, this isn't the only thing we've got to show you on TNT this weekend. Can Rob Baxter's Tyros maintain their unblemished record at Sandy Park up against Tigers? It's a sellout. We cannot wait for that one. 2:45 a bit later on today. And then it's Finn Russell against Marcus Smith. Enough said. 3 o'clock, TNT1. Do not miss it. We are back as part of a doubleheader. We're off to the big one, off to HQ for the big game. Harlequins up against the reigning champions, who have looked irresistible so far this season. While I've been telling you about that, Saracens have won another penalty. And McDougall sees them up onto the cusp of the 22 for the first time in what feels like forever.
Probably for about 34 minutes, isn't it? Yeah, I think we're getting a bit of a momentum swing, aren't we now? Saris have got a couple of penalties. Now just need to build into their game, not force anything, just go through them, go through their patterns, go through what they do week in, week out. And I think if they do that, that'll allow them to build into the game. Ultimately, it's still a one-score game, given all the territory possession Bristol have had.
Well, we gave the line-outs the big sell ahead of time, but none of them are sticking right now. Possession is gifted back. And then the error compounded. Cleo flying up onto Burgess. No side has scored more in the league this season than Saracens. Top tries, and they're the best for number of entries and efficiency when they get into the red zone. But Bristol Bears have just rattled them, haven't they, and denied them any ball.
Yeah, I mean, they're not getting anywhere near Bristol's red zone, which is, I suppose, part of their problem. But yeah, like you say, they average nearly 4 points in entry. But I think Bristol are doing a really good job of just keeping the ball. I think probably both will be disappointed how their set piece gone, because it's probably tit for tat a little bit, isn't it, rather than going to form. But here we see Bristol, Saris going well.
Well, the line-outs aren't quite clicking, but ball in hand, perhaps there's more change to be had. Carry down that touchline from Corinne Grant before May Campbell is thumped into, driven on ceremoniously backwards by Sarah Byrne. Saracens still have it though. Vivas has Rose in that scrum cap on hand with the fend and the carry. Just need to string some phases together here, Saracens. So much confidence to be had if they can keep hold of the ball. Vivas crabbing, scanning, kicking. It's gathered. That's lovely from new signing Sophie Bridger, who won the league with Crystal Hartbury last year, and now it's the other centre, Gregson. 4 tries in her last 4 outings. Advantage coming the way of the hosts. Back for the penalty.
Better again, isn't it, from Saris? I think we talked about McDougall at the beginning of the game. I think what she's got to allow Saris to do is to play. We've seen her ball in hand, she's carrying, which ideally when you've got Poppy Cleal, you've got Marley Packer, Jess Breach around you want those girls to do it. And I think for her, she just needs to settle, especially as Saracens hopefully get a bit more possession.
Because you're right, it's a 1-score game, and if they can score right before they head to the sheds, the entire complexion changes.
100%. I know we heard from Alex and he sounded frustrated, but ultimately if you've had such a low territory and so low possession, you've got to be the happier coach at the moment.
They'll be happier still if they can get this line out away. They do. Galligan, and now the maul. This is a real weapon of Saracens. They've got Grant down the short side, but for now they're happy to keep it tight. Happy to let the bruisers up front get to work. Now they've got an advantage. We've got Lottie Clapp screaming for it on this near touchline, but again, they keep it close. Muscular, punishing efforts, but Bears disrupts it, so back we come for the penalty, and Dagudi has ambitions of going quickly, but those are soon stalled.
Yeah, definitely don't think she was going quickly there. Be interesting what Saracens choose here. I wondered if they would look at going to scrum, but we see they're just going to go straight to the line out and go back to that line out.
Will Bristol look to disrupt and contest this one, or will they prepare themselves?
2 balls. No. There's another ball here. The last thing we want is someone diving on that one. You're all good. Right, just reset yourself on the line. Saracens, just set your gap as well, okay? There you go.
We had 2 balls briefly on the field, 2 balls and a partridge and a pear tree. That one's away cleanly, and it's a long line out, which allows Saracens to really group and start to creep their way onwards, but Bears holding their defensive shape very well.
Always bound in. She's always come through the middle. She's through the middle.
Saracens looking to work their way forward. Down it falls. Vivas is going to have to root her for this. Bears have it back. Big turnover.
It's fine. She's through the middle.
Burgess with so much to do to keep that ball white.
Calm yourself down. We were advantaged for a knock-on, okay? You lost it on the floor here.
I really enjoy Sarah Cox's conversation to the players. Very, very clear about what she's saying. But Abby Ward there, how instrumental was she in stopping that Saracens drive? Came through the middle of the line out. Once she's got hands on the ball, then it's very, very difficult for Saracens to do anything, especially for Ella Vivas at the back to try and get that ball away.
And for all the talk of the youngsters, and there are so many bright young things littered, sparkling across the pitch, it's Poppy Cleal coming up with a big defensive intervention up that end, and Abby Ward up this end. Sometimes you need your leaders, you're right.
100%. Amber Reid with that lovely weighted kick. You know, the girls have got experience, are used to big games. We're seeing them thrive today.
Well, this is a big moment. Bears need to get this away. It's Marston Mulhern who has it now, writhing through contacts. The scream from Aitchison to get it off the field. Well, it's been a proper toe-to-toe tussle, this. The Christmas cracker living up to the billing. Low scoring, but high entertainment. A try from Jess Breach early on. A response from Lark Atkin-Davies, and that beauty from Phoebe Murray. But ever since then, a real stalemate. And it's half-time here at the StoneX. Bristol Bears leading Saracens 10 points to 5. Dave Ward there, the coach who would steal Christmas. He's Grinch this afternoon. And it's his side, playing with the wind at their backs, who will get us back underway. Sophie de Goody hurtling through North London skies to claim the restart before Marley Packer, with some fire in her belly and an offload on her mind, gets Saracens back underway. What a start to the second half. Sydney Gregson up over the 22, eventually hauled down. But the 3-time champions can only watch as they knock it on, and another attempt goes begging. Burgess wallops it away. Saracens' 5th handling error, pinning them back in their own half as McDougall just outfoxes Loverbond there. She returns it into touch. But out on the full by the looks of things.
Yeah, I mean, this is Sarries at their best here. We're just seeing Marley Packer in your captain example. And then once they're in free-flowing rugby, Sydney Gregson, we know how dangerous she can be and just recycle the ball. But again, it's that last moment. I'm sure Alex Osprey had his hands in his head again, because as you see Sydney break, this then produces this error. And that's where Sarries have got to be more clinical for me. They've got to then capitalise on these bits of momentum.
Well, this is definitely the hardest test of their season so far. They've come up against Loughborough Lightning, Ealing Trailfinders, Harlequins, who are struggling this year, and Leicester Tigers. So Bears are a different prospect entirely. They're 2-time semi-finalists.
Make sure you're onside. Onside.
And their squad list reads a little bit like a who's who of rugby. They're well coached too. So let's see what it is that Burgess opts to do with this one, because no doubt Ward will have had a word about how to utilise the wind in this second period. It's scrum half to scrum half. Vivas onto Bridger. This now is Gallagher. Just delays her pass, and on it pops to Campbell. Cleal reaches backwards to catch that one, and looks trapped beneath her for all the world.
Let the ball cut. You're lying on your own ball.
Vivas though away and on to De Goody, who is from Canadian rugby royalty. Both of her parents skippered the Maple Leafs at World Cup, and they'll need all that pedigree to come to the fore as Saracens look to hit the front for the first time since that Lark Atkin-Davies try. Off the left foot, awkward and scuttling from Bridger, gathered, popped on. Oh, here we go, Saracens 10 metres out, an opportunistic moment seized. Virvas onto Evans. But there, the turnover, and Delaney Burns celebrated it with relish.
Oh, Saris are causing themselves problem there. That penalty there for the extra roll from Georgia Evans. And it's just unnecessary, isn't it? You've got the momentum, you've got the ball, you're in the 22. I think for me that's where you need to see Marley Packer talking to your players. We've got to be more clinical once they're in that area. Lovely little kick there, isn't it, from Sophie Bridger, and great chase from Jess Breach. The ball sat up lovely for her, and again they're just in behind here. You see this Georgia Evans carry, good carry here. It's that roll there, that's the one, that's the problem.
Well, they gifted it right back. Gift wrapped for Christmas with a little bow on top because Bristol knock it on at the line out. And there's a penalty coming too.
I'll put Bristol on the end of the line, mate. On the end of the line.
Saracens inside the 22, looking to get themselves a second of the afternoon. Galligan brings it safely down, and that's got a real head of steam on it, that maul. We saw it used to devastating effect against Harlequins just a couple of rounds ago. 31-0 against their great rivals. A real warning shot across the bows of the league, but it's Bears who turn it over.
It's that forward pack again, isn't it? Going to work, you think Saris for all money will be in a good position here, but again, you've seen Abby Ward, you've seen Sarah Byrne, Evie Gallagher, all in there causing Saris a lot of problems.
Right on cue, the Bristol Bears forwards' names glide across the screen. Just testament to what a unit Dave Ward has assembled.
Crouch!
Down in the West Country in that shiny high performance centre, honing their crafts.
It's very shiny.
Super shiny. Really is immaculate, and actually the women's use of it was one of the conditions on which Ward accepted the job from Pat Lamb and from the team at Bristol 2 years ago. Training with the men week in, week out. All the resources they could want, but still no silverware in the cupboard. That's the missing piece as Negrelli pinwheels and picks out Bosserman. They're making hard work of this exit. But now Ward has it, says enough is enough.
Yeah, ball's there.
Grabs some gain line.
Wait, take him back!
And it's back into the pocket. England's fly half with the wind at her back really lets rip. That flies upfield. Here comes Lottie Clapp. And it's a thunderclap in response. No prisoners taken there. Big shot comes in.
No, ball is there. Can't hold her in. I'm not saying with you.
Virvas heads off on a little adventure, ended abruptly by the Bears' defensive line. Breach in as acting scrum half, but she's enveloped. Bridger next to have a go at pretending to air number 9 onto Cleo. He was so instrumental in that second quarter of the match. McDougall finds her captain on a barrelling line, and now McDougall again, the teenage sensation. She's not come up against anything quite like this. Breach onto Packer. We're saying her name more now. It's a sign that Saracens are looking to try and get themselves into this one.
She's onside.
Now Clifford. Atkin-Davies and Burner there, the double shot. Stopping the loose head in her tracks. McDougall onto Grant. Bridger pops up on the wing. Saracens, a 6th visit to the 22. They've come away with 5 points.
You're not onside.
poverty by their usual standards. Now Vivas on to Gregson. The drum starts to ring out around the Stonex. It's their third best ever crowd here, but they're failing so far to will their women onto the heights that they're used to. Nigarelli has the loose ball. What a shot on Holly Aitchison, the ball's loose. Did that go down? Oh my words! It was messy, it was scrappy, but they all can, and just look at the delight on Saracens' faces. Or perhaps I should say relief.
No, I think it is delight. I think we can also hear Sarah Cox, I think, is just talking to the TMO as well in the background there.
Yeah, Coxie, on-field decision is try. We just want to check if there's a possible knock-on in the last tackle.
So Nikki O'Donnell there, just checking for a little knock on at this point.
So I think that's the one they're checking, isn't it? The Jess breach tackle. For me, that looks like that is a knock-on from Jess Breach. It just looks like as she's wrapped in the tackle, she's caught the ball.
We're just going to slow this down for you, Coxie.
Right, I'm going to stick it up on the screen. So yeah, it's that one, but the corner angle
So
here, Nikki.
there's
So you had that's the
tackle.
one there, that one there.
This is the angle, isn't it?
So I've got that clearly in that tackle. It's just touched by the black hand on the way through there. So I'm comfortable that that is a knock-on in the tackle. So there will be no try, and we go back for that knock-on, yeah? Okay.
I agree, Coxie.
No try.
Well, I thought it was relief, you thought it was delight. Sarah Cox thinks it's no try. It's scratched from the record, and the boos are ringing out around North London.
It's just good officiating for me. It's very concise. Obviously, there's no way Sarah Cox can see that because she's on the other side of the ball. It's where your team always very efficient, checks it, job done, we move on. And I think that's where rugby is very good at that now. A relief for Bristol, though, isn't it?
Certainly is. With the wind at their back for this exit, which would make their lives a little bit easier. Half an hour remaining on this one.
Okay, restart yourselves.
Bristol leading by 2 tries to 1 up against the league leaders.
Pull your shoulders out,
Even on
pull your shoulders out.
blemished
Come on,
record
off we
so
go
far.
again. Come on.
4 from 4, but we should say
Right, give each
with
other headspace,
Giants
please.
looming, because they've got to go to Hayward Road up against your very own Sale Sharks in January, and that is a tough trip before they've got Exeter and Gloucester Hartbury back to back. So they need to lay down a marker here, don't they? Get some momentum.
Set!
Yeah, and I think with all sides, you know, this game before Christmas is a little bit of a break, other than obviously the Harlequins Gloucester game. You want to get points on the board before you go.
And for Bristol right now, all they will be focused on is the exit. They're 5 metres now out from their try line. Big bodies queuing up, doing what they can to buy Aitchison, who's now dropping back into the pocket, the space that she'll need.
Rosie, step back. Yes, please.
Rosie Galligan told in no uncertain terms to retreat. Burgess with the kick. Get some good distance on that, but Saracens now looking to return it with interest. Grant in off her wing. Gregson has Bridger to her outside, ducking and diving.
Step back, step back.
McDougall, short pass
No, leave it
into
wide.
Wales's Georgia Evans. That trademark pink bow buried beneath Bear's paws. Breach thunders into Holly Aitchison. England teammates, but nothing of the kind today.
Ball is here. You bin her in, you'll slow your own ball down.
All of that familiarity getting parked for the next half hour or so, because there are bragging rights and scalps to be won. Ball loops up over the top and onto Clapp. She's wonderful in those one-on-ones. This time though, she finds Cleo on her shoulder.
Extra roll, they're clearly jackalers, 1 and 2. You're taking an extra roll.
Again, very clear communication from the referee, that extra roll. You know, as soon as you're tackled as ball carrier, you've got to stop. They want to allow a competition for the ball. Yeah, and I mean, that takes Sarri's penalty count up to 13 now, which is it's huge, isn't it? Usually that's your penalty count for the game. We've only played 51 minutes here, and Bristol only on 7 is a big difference.
Yeah.
Bristol are indeed only on 7 penalties. They're also up by 5 points. So let's get the thoughts of their head coach, Ashley Wilmot. Over to you.
Thanks, Claire. Yes, I'm with Dave Ward from Bristol Bears. Dave, brilliant first half. What were the messages at half-time?
Yeah, I think you get a bit scared in terms of coaching because you like more of the same. But more of the same basically means for us that set-piece dominance, making sure we get our backs on the front foot, and then when we've got the ball, hold on to it. You know, once we've done that for 3, 4, 5 phases, we've looked really dangerous.
You have indeed angered the beast, I think. It's clear to see, because it's the first time Saracens have been down in any game this season at half-time. So how good a boost is that for momentum for you guys as well?
Yeah, look, it's obviously great, and we're happy to be up at half-time, but look, we want to win the game. And that's the next stage for this. I mean, look, it's nip and tuck now. You can see it. It's going to be very close throughout, and we've got to make sure that we take our opportunities. We got over the line twice. We didn't quite score. If we get up there again, we've got to make sure we either take the 3, 5 or 7.
And just a word on Abby Ward, how influential has she been on the game so far?
She's been incredible today. She's been absolutely outstanding. Intercepts, line-out steals. She's been back to her menacing best.
Thanks for your time, Dave.
No worries, thank you.
They, of course, maintain such a professional relationship where they're in that capacity, but I feel like menacing best might come back to haunt Dave over Christmas lunch.
I think he knew exactly what he was saying, if I'm honest.
That's 2 back-to-back penalties right before that packed stand.
You're through too early, you got your timing wrong.
Saracens with the ball back and a chance to bury it deep in that 22. McDougall, fresh out of their centre of excellence and straight into a PWR game of this magnitude.
She's going all right as well, isn't it? Like, it's very, very different standard of rugby to what she's being used to. And yes, 4 starts, but this doesn't get much bigger than this as a club game.
Good contest.
She can stand off and watch because Saracens have got that away cleanly, and this thing is charging towards the line, and there is the try. It's Marley Packer, of course it is. Captain Fantastic strikes again when her side needed it most.
They really did, didn't they? They needed somebody to stand up and be counted, and it was always going to be that girl. She has been phenomenal for this club for a long, long time now, and in that position, when you have a pack as dominant as Sarries have been, you know she's going to get over that line. You know, they've got a good nudge on it, they get round, they lose a lot of those Bristol forwards, and I think once you get that momentum, it's much easier. That is the first time we've seen that from Sarries in this game, where they've actually got the nudge on. Usually, previously, Bristol have stopped at its source, whereas they knew exactly what they're doing, and they got it right.
Cheers, Nick.
She is so intrinsic for club and country. The World Player of the Year, delivering the goods. From the goods to the diggity. It's one hell of a strike, and it just drifts across the face of the upright. She had all the distance.
Good connection, isn't it? Much better than our first attempt in the first half. And we're disappointed with that because we know she is a very good kicker. But if we see this again, it's just the work from the forwards in front. May Campbell in there, Georgia Evans just driving it forward, and Bristol have just got split, they've got thrown out. An easy try from Marley Packer in the end.
The last time these two sides played one another, it was 38 apiece with 5 minutes to go. It was a very different looking game, much more expansive and free-flowing, plenty more tries, but it does go to show that Bristol are just closing the gap on Saracens. They're really taking things to the wire now.
And it's going to be really important that Bristol get this next score now. We've seen a bit of momentum swing. And we've seen, as we watch play unfold now, Bristol really need to get back in this game.
And the kick chase from Lottie Clapp, the US Eagle, causing all sorts of problems for Ella Lovibond, but she did manage to thump it away.
She did, just as I was saying about this momentum. It's a great kick, isn't it? Sophie de Goody exiting, and oh, the bounce of a rugby ball, something I'm sure Meg Varley will not want to see again.
Stay on the end.
Normally so rock solid in the backfield, Lovibond, but that straight on Soccer AM, not Meg. This time, it's Bristol's turn to pilfer the line out. Burgess weaving audaciously back through heavy traffic. It's Gallagher who's next to carry, and now this is Bosserman, two of the new arrivals in brutal tandem. Down the short side. Probing for weaknesses, for chinks, as we mentioned, in that armour. Burns is the next to have a go. Burgess, though, wrapped up.
It's all back.
Goes backwards. Donna Rose, what a shot from the newly returned Welsh international. Aitchison to Reid, to Murray. Bouncing out of Lovibond's hand. She's had a tough couple of minutes. One-handed carry from Poppy Cleal. The offload is outrageous. That's straight on Santa's naughty list. Breach to McDougall. Picked up and dumped down by Marston Mulhern. The one-handed carry, the offload, the almighty shot, all the tricks coming out of the Saracens and Bristol's boxes. We promised you a Christmas cracker. Here goes Sophie de Goody. She is a cheat code. And now you get the sense that the three-time champions are just beginning to snarl.
They are, and isn't this what just makes Saracens such a great side? You know, no possession, no territory, kept Bristol to one score at half-time, and now they're working their way back into the game. Good, solid drive and maul, and now we're starting to see what we've come to know them for, that free flow and that running game. It starts with this lady here, Poppy Cleal, ball in one hand, lovely little basketball over the head, isn't it? Corrie Grant, for me, brilliant, stays away from that touch line, and then it's front fall, and you think, after this hit, McDougall does great body management, you know, young girl, just to be able to keep a hold of the ball, and then Sarries just stretch it down there. All from Sophie de Goody. She goes across four defenders there. Skips, and like we've talked about with that background. Just
Try's good, mate.
Great try. Just so athletic, isn't it? In the way she moves there. The girls that she's defending, Sarah Byrne, Holly Aitchison, they're good defenders. How strong she is as well.
Again, it's just to the right of the sticks, but Sophie de Goody, this is her second stint at Saracens. She came over right before lockdown and COVID, ended up staying with Alex Osterbury as a lodger in his house, but was transformative for them this season. But she's back, and she says she's got unfinished business. She wants to win the Premiership with this side.
It's not a bad way to put that claim, is it?
So Bristol Bears won the first passage, 10 points to 5. Saracens leading the second, 10 points to 0. And that's where we find ourselves with the final quarter remaining.
I mean, I said it before the last track, but Bristol really need to score now. The last thing they need is for Sarries to just now rack that scoreboard up.
They are devastating when they've got a lead. A little bit of space as Ward pops it down to Negrelli, and now it's Aitchison. Back at her old stomping ground, but finding the last 20 minutes or so pretty difficult. The same can be said of Bosserman, but she makes light work there of Marley Packer. Someone's left a boot behind as Burgess scampers up and over the top of the defender.
Good counter up, she's on her feet, good counter.
The counter up from Saracens, everything's just beginning to click. When they get things right, they are pretty irresistible. But now Abby Ward.
No, Marley, leave it! You're off your feet.
At her menacing best.
Yeah, the ball's here.
To quote Dave Ward.
You are stopping your own ball, White.
Just manages to burgle that one. And this is when Bristol need to strike. This is when they need to find something. Marley Varley was able to gather that at speed. And how about the fend on Amelia McDougall? She's had a tough 5 minutes, the young fly half of Saracens. Drive Burgess into touch.
That was a big contact on Burgess there from that lady. Poppy Cleal, we see her walking away.
Is she back on?
Fair play getting up from that. But here we see Bristol again. Great, just backing yourself, isn't it? A winger. Big fend, holds her touchline. And she does well there, gets rid of the ball, doesn't go into touch, but it's this one here. As Burgess looks up, 2 back rows coming towards you, not what you want.
Between them, Emma Taylor and Poppy Cleal, a 12-foot of menacing Saracen.
Oh, it's the same role.
Lucy Burgess is about 5. Again, Saracens get their line out to stick, and again,
Pull people out.
it makes
Always do
serious
the right.
inroads. Leanne Infante wearing
Stand up,
22 and on. The Red Rose is able to just bark orders from behind the massive
Drop through
bodies.
the middle.
She's got it now, but Bears have
Go on,
her.
let the ball come. Leave it. Right out. Spawn is here.
Gallagher opts to keep it tight and short and tidy, and Emma Taylor, the Canadian international, she's on to McDougall, just spinning away from Burgess with the chip and the chase. We were told she had plenty of swagger for an 18-year-old, but Murray has it now. Out onto Nigrelli, tackle from May Campbell is absolutely necessary.
No. You just on my mark, that was all.
Yeah, it was, I mean, Bristol then again, they're just becoming a little bit of their own enemies, aren't they? You know, don't go near that touchline. It's a good tackle by May Campbell, but it's so much easier when players are that close to the touchline. But for me, the momentum shift has been huge, hasn't it?
That's why I let it come out.
We watch it again here. For me, Nigrelli just needs to get off that left foot. She needs to drive into May Campbell, not keep hugging that touchline, because, like you say, touchline never misses them, does it? But that momentum swing is huge. Saris have it at the moment. Bristol need to find a way of getting it back.
If you've done all your Christmas shopping, if you're one of those smug individuals and you've got nothing on this afternoon, then do not worry, because we have got Chiefs against Tigers on TNT 5 from 2:45 down at a packed-out Sandy Park. Taking place at the same time, so how's your double screening? We've got Harlequins heading down to the Rec, that's second against third in the Gallagher Premiership at 3 p.m. We are back with some PWR action, heading to Twickenham for the big game. It's a double header, so do not miss that one. And then tonight, the big fight on Discovery. The big fight, Joshua against Valin, the day of reckoning upon us. It's a star-studded card out in Riyadh, including Deontay Wilder, Joseph Parker, Daniel Dubois. That is today from 4 p.m. live on TNT Sports box office. For more information and for terms and conditions, head to tntsports.co.uk/box office.
All right. Crouch!
Lana Skeldon is on wearing the white scrum cap for Bristol Bears, so she's straight on and into the madhouse that is this scrum.
Right, don't flick balls out of people's hands. Keep hands down. Right, you two need to be better here.
And perhaps unsurprisingly, it's Leanne Infante getting a bit close and personal there with Lucy Burgess. She's always a firecracker when she comes on.
Come on.
Absolutely, isn't she? Feisty as they come, Leanne. You can just see the referee telling her to knock balls out of the opposition's hand. But that's Leanne, will want to get in the game, will want to add influence, and is very suited to the Saris mentality.
Crouch! Bind!
And with England under 20, Tori Selos recently signing from Worcester to Saracens. Their depth at scrum half is only growing. But Marston Mulhern, last season's top carrier, this season's top carrier, adds to that tally. Burgess forced to delay that one, but picks out Byrne onto Burns. The offload was chicken wing, and it was wonderful. Onto Aitchison. Bouncing ball, trickles from Loverbond's fingertips. Scrum advantage, Saracens, opportunity snuffed out.
Saris' defence are winning that now, aren't they? They're getting off the line, they're getting into Holly's eyesight. So as she's looking to play that wide ball, she's seeing a mixture of black players in that space for her. And I think, for me, just causing her a couple of problems now.
Nikki, if that's clearly wrong for me, then just overturn that, please.
Lana Skeldon, the Scotland international.
I don't have an angle to disprove you, Coxie. Carry on.
With a thistle on her chest and now playing with a bear on it. But the conditions today, or perhaps the pressure Saracens are putting on Bears line out, just isn't going to plan.
It's that fascinating thing about rugby, isn't it? About momentum. When you've got momentum, life feels easy. Things are going your way, you're going forward, which Bristol, to be honest, have done for probably 50 minutes of this game. The last 15 minutes, though, we've seen Saris come back, and now we're getting a little bit of edginess, I think, in Bristol's play. The balls aren't going to hand, things are hitting the ground, and Saris are starting to thrive in that chaos.
The changes are starting to come on as bodies tire and time runs out for Bristol to stage a comeback. So Hannah Bosserman on her return to the Stonex, her afternoon is done. So on comes Gwen Clean-Purse wearing 17, one of the full-time Welsh internationals, and there she is. Not a bad replacement.
It's not, isn't it? And Bristol have done that. Dave has done a very good job with his recruitment, you know, to replace Hannah Bottoman with another international. Gwen is a very good player, very good scrummager. Will again likes to move around, likes to carry. So he's done a great job of really bolstering this squad.
And you were saying pre-match that you really liked the look of Bristol's bench. And I'll need them now. 15 to play, 5 the difference. Poppy Cleal just showing off again with that one-handed carry, and it's Sophie Bridger wearing 12 and carrying like a torpedo. McDougall thinks she's spotted space, but this time Lavibond is wise to it. Breach flies up to meet her. It's quite the reception committee. She's driven backwards down the short side. Burgess perhaps needed to find Reed to her outside, but instead it's Ward. Picks the other co-captain, and Saracens pilfer it.
Body position with a juggler in a positive position. You clearly
Marley
changed your
Packer,
body
but she
position when there was a
looks
juggler over the ball.
in some discomfort.
I think she just got a bit of a shot on the
Stopping
ribs,
the,
didn't she?
turning.
That's what happens when you put your head where Marley Packer puts her head. Again, though, it's interesting, isn't it? Because Abby, great carry from Abby Ward, but as soon as you allow Marley Packer to get into that position, it's going to be really difficult to win because she's won the height and she's won the space. We've obviously got the Bristol coaches who don't agree with it, but I think they got those decisions in the first half. Exactly the same. Evie Gallagher in very, very similar positions.
On the end of the white. On the end of the white.
Saracens looking for their 16th straight win in regular season play. It's a serious winning streak. Overcoming all of the other sides in the league in the process. They started slowly last year and it cost them towards the tail end. They had to head to Sandy Park
Moving again.
and were defeated at the semi-final stage for the very first time. But this year they have flown from the traps, and here they go in hunt of a bonus point score.
All back. All back.
Shot from Varley came in,
Just slipped over.
just stopping Jess Breach as she looks to make the killer pass, but now the hand comes out and the hand brakes come off. There's the advantage, there's the trickle through. There is potentially the bonus point try.
Right. You got clear foot into touch? Okay, perfect, no worries. So, yeah, we're going back for the penalty. Yeah, we go back.
But
It's
the
clear foot
flags
in
came
touch.
up, Bridger was hauled into touch.
You've got a medic on
Lovely
the
little
pitch.
touch from
So you're not going
McDougall,
anywhere.
wasn't it,
You've got a
though?
medic on the pitch.
Really nice, but I think
Yes, correct.
referee
Yes.
foot and touch comes back for the penalty. Easy one, isn't it, again?
Yeah.
Again, lovely little through ball, isn't it?
Yeah, just inside the 22 on the 15 mark.
Everybody took a big inhale, didn't they? Yeah.
Very
So
clearly
foot and touch,
in
but
touch.
again, lovely nudge, lovely pick up, nice little play from Saracens.
Come on. Right, medic's
It's
all
amazing
clear.
what a 5-point lead can do for confidence and therefore execution.
An assist.
Yeah, definitely. And momentum, isn't it? We keep talking about it, but if
Slips
you've
up
got more
wide.
of the ball, life is easier. It's easier to
Coxie,
attack
take her
than
a couple of
defend.
metres back. She's actually on the white mark for the 15.
And I think Saris have started to work out the referee. They've also getting a bit of joy with their defence, getting up and stopping Bristol, having this nice front foot attacking space that we're having.
Campbell finds Cleo, who's lifted high, and now everybody starts to pile in. Lottie Clapp adds what weight and drive she can as the black jerseys surge over the whitewash. And it's a bonus point try and the Christmas cracker. And it goes to May Campbell.
It's well worked, wasn't it? Sarries stacked their line out. If we could see, you had Sophie Bridger in the front in the channel there. But May Campbell get a nice, easy armchair ride in the back of that maul. You can see here again, well formed, lots of numbers, lots of body, and Bristol just gets split through the middle, don't they? You see forwards peel out right, forwards peel out left.
Boxy.
And then once that happens, it's, like we say, really easy for May Campbell. But I think Sarries have obviously done their homework at half-time in terms of what they need to do to start to break Bristol down.
Well, we've not seen a kick land all afternoon, but that's the closest yet to Goody smiles, because she knows, although that's 2 points gone begging, Saracens are firmly in the driver's seat now with a 10-point buffer and 10 minutes with which to defend it. He's still not smiling.
No, he isn't. I'm not sure why he isn't smiling now.
Bristol ring two notable changes. Delaney Burns and Holly Aitchison heads to the sheds, which means that Meryl Smith is on. She has the ball now with the scrunchie, the Scotland international. And Holly Cullingham has come to join us. The replacement looked forward to join Abby Ward, who cannot come off at this stage of the match.
No, but if we just look at that kick from Leanne Infantino, brought off the bench, added experience, added a lot of edge, but really smart decision-making, isn't it? Just send Bristol back into the half and say, if you're going to score, you're going to have to go 60 metres. Really good decision by Leanne there.
That's much cleaner from Skeldon and Bristol now under all kinds of pressure. Saracens, now they've got that read on Sarah Cox, our referee, is starting to apply plenty at the breakdown. Murray whips it, perhaps too hard, through the hands of Lovibond, and there's a clean-up job to be done.
Leave it, Black, leave it.
Just like that, Bears back in their 22. Burgess to Smith, on to Byrne with the cute pass, but it just forces Marston Mulhern to change her line. Not that that stops her, not that anyone stops her. 5 metres grabbed, snatched from the jaws of the Wolfpack. Her 10th carry of the day. We're so used to those numbers from the thunderous number 8. Donna Rose has stayed down as Phoebe Murray can only watch as the ball is knocked on. Saracens will have a scrum in a lovely attacking position.
For me, this is the difference between Bristol and the other top 4 sides. For me, I think they overplay in these parts, especially when you're down. Making your team go 80 metres, especially after you've played 70 minutes already, is a big ask. I just feel it can be a bit more sensible. Kick the ball, go chase, go try and exert some pressure. Because for me, that's what Gloucester did really well. You look at Lecky George, kicks the corners very well. What Leanne's just done there really well for Sarries, it's smart rugby. And when you look at the difference between those teams at the moment, I think that's what Bristol lack. They are really stick to their convictions of wanting to play, but sometimes you overplay and you've now just put yourself in more problems.
They brought in Holly Aitchison, who's done so much work over recent seasons to expand and diversify her kicking game in terms of distance she can get as well as options she's got available to her. So why aren't they using that?
I mean, I'm not in the Bristol camp, but when you chat to Dave and their coaches, I don't think it's part of their philosophy. It's something that they want to run their ball, they want to keep the ball in hand, they don't believe in the kicking game. But for me, I think for the top sides, that is the big difference. The difference of kicking a ball to relieve pressure, because if you play good defensive sides, Sarries are quite happy to keep coming and getting it and forcing errors.
Injured, making a tackle.
They've now got a scrum to defend 7-8 metres out from their line.
Molly Packer was interesting in the week. She said that the way Saracens were going to get the job done today was to stick to their DNA and then bring the tempo when they wanted to bring it. Is that something they've got right in the second half?
Definitely. I'm not sure she'll be that happy with their first half performance, but I think they've adapted, they've changed. They've obviously had a good chat at half time about what they do around set piece, because I think Sarries have won the second half set piece dominance. And I think, you know, they're not this good if they can't get themselves out of a hole. And what we've seen them do is dig themselves out of a hole today.
Binds! Set! Steady!
Infante feeding the scrum. Lottie Klatt waits on the short side, but it's McDougall who's growing and growing into the game by the minute, who's behind the scrum. Big scrum penalty there. Matt's going straight in the corner.
Straight in the corner, isn't it? You look at that lady again, full of animation, in it, slapping everybody's backs. And that's what Molly Packer does well, isn't it? That's why you want her in your club side, you want her in the international side, because of the energy she brings off the ball. And she's a pretty good rugby player.
You've won a World Cup with her. Just take us into those moments, the little celebrations, the aggression of them. How contagious is that?
You going to the corner? Yep, okay.
It's huge, isn't it? Because it's the small things. It's the bit that you don't know how all those people are feeling. Somebody might have just made an error there, and actually the scrum's gone well, and she knows that. She's the heartbeat. By that little bit of energy just gives somebody a little rise. And in moments like that, when the game is as tight a margins, that's what you need, isn't it? You need somebody who's going to give you an edge. Molly Packer has a lot of edge.
Yeovil's finest, strutting it on the biggest of stages and not missing a beat. Poppy Cleal, again, the recipient, and again, we've seen this, it's cookie cutter, it's Christmas cookie cutter. It's down, it's devastating, it's 5. And that, you feel, is surely the game.
Yeah, it's a big old mountain now, isn't it, for Bristol to climb. You look at the clinicalness. We said at the beginning that Sarries they were a bit loose with possession, but once they found their stride, once they flipped that momentum, once they got into the try scoring 22, they went to work. And like I say, I think they've done their homework. The coaches have looked at how they needed to do. We've seen a lot of this shift, how we've seen them able to split Bristol, which they couldn't do in the first half. And it's just that rotation, isn't it? It's like
good.
Kicking out to allow the Bristol players almost to get turned to the touchline. Rather than go muscle on muscle, they've shifted them out and they've driven through them.
And it's the same outcome again, just to the right of the uprights, but 15 points is now the buffer. So Saracens denying Bristol Bears the bonus point as things stand, but also holding them scoreless in the second half.
Huge, isn't it? You know, you get bonus points for being within 7 for scoring 4 tries at the moment. Bristol are leaving with nothing, which I know, having wanted to come here and win the game, they would have expected to take something away back to Bristol.
1 and 3.
This will make it 12 losses in a row to Saracens. If they're to win this league, and they have been so open with their ambitions to do so, they are going to have to learn to flip that script.
Hang on. Right, 15. Off you go, please. You've been subs. Right, give it. Right.
Bristol Bears briefly attempting to play with 16 women on the field.
I'm hanging on for you. Right, confirm the changes from your point of view, Bronte.
What's almost more entertaining than listening into Sarah Cox here is watching the Bristol coaches counting players on the pitch to our right.
Right, turn up. Good spot, Ryan, well done, mate.
Okay, order is restored. Latching over the ball just briefly there was Akina Gondwe,
Okay, we're all done, White.
the new loose head arrival at Saracens. Another one from Worcester. She's a real dynamo. Keep an eye out for her as McDougall tries that chip. We've seen it before, but this time the chase bounces up, sits into the hands of Lovibond. She manages to get the offload away, and that's Claire Malloy, the former Ireland captain, finding herself 10 metres shy of the try line. Purse over the top of Gondwe. And now Murray fizzes it across the face of the defence onto Varley. Lovibond. Lovibond still. Bristol going backwards, Saracens steal it. Oh, it's Sophie de Goody at the heart of it.
She's been very good today, hasn't she? Really, really good in terms of how she's played, how instrumental she's been. And for me, it's been the key moments, isn't it, of her game, you know, the try, the assist. They, for me, have been big moments.
Would you in fact say, Katie, that she's been so good that she might be your Premiership Women's Rugby Player of the Match?
Yes, if anybody didn't get it, she has. I think, like I say, she's been just waiting for it. It's the instrumental moments, isn't it? It's a try and assist in the first half. It's a try she scores, which gets Sarries back in the game. I thought it's what you want from the quality. And, you know, like you say, she's got unfinished business. And what a game she's had in a very, very big game for Sarries.
And with de Goody, what is so easy to forget is she's 24 years old. She's captained her country at a World Cup, and she's becoming such an influential figure already here at the most decorated side in the league's history. And she's 24.
Number 10.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody's seen her play for Canada, they will know she carries that Canada side as well. You know, the way she plays, she goal kicks, she's everything for that group. And I think, like you say, in a team that is littered with international quality, standing out and thriving in the way she is shows what a great player she is, but how good she can become with a bit more time. And a notable mention to this young kid, isn't she? 18 years old, 4 starts, and doing it, being part of a win in a very, very big game for the club.
77 minutes in this first versus third clash.
You hit her off the ball.
Saracens find themselves with an opportunity to march deeper into Bears territory.
Hit her off the ball if she doesn't have the ball.
How hideous a cliche would it be, Katie, to describe this as a game of two halves?
I mean, it is a dreadful cliche, but I think it probably is very appropriate for this game, isn't it? You know, Bristol won the first half, and like Dave mentioned it, didn't he? The 2 tries that Poppy Cleal held up makes this maybe a different scoreline, isn't it? Easy ones were probably both underneath the post. Holly nudges them conversions is a 25-24 game, and it's a different finish, isn't it? And I think when they look back on this game, Bristol will probably be kicking themselves for that.
Balls knocked on.
Just a little knock on there.
It's growing fractured in the dying moments of this one.
Just a knock on into her leg.
So let's just cast our eyes forward, because on the 20th of January, the 2 remaining unbeaten sides in the league, Saracens and Gloucester Hartpury, will collide. Who've you got, Sarries or Cherries?
It's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, if given the first half performance, you'd be going Gloucester all the way from Sarries, wouldn't you? But I think the thing you can't do is you can't write Saracens off. I think we know that Gloucester have come here and put a big score on them previously. But for me, I think it'll be Gloucester. I've had to put my money where my mouth was.
Infante fizzes it out, and it's gathered cleanly by Bridger, who had to practically skim her own bootlaces to catch it. But now de Goody has it. She's got Packer pinwheeling past her in support, and now Taylor. Canadian international to Canadian international. Saracens hunting for a 6th as Gregson is hauled backwards by Gallagher, but then in turn pulls the open side forwards 6 metres out. There's a pod of international forwards just waiting to flex their muscles.
Yeah, they're just lying on it now.
Infante into the breakdown. It's Lou McMillan of Scotland at the base of all of that. Gregson in at scrum half, looking to hurdle over a white defensive line, but instead she's dumped down. Will Saracens go for one more try? Oh yes, they will! That's the cherry on top of what has been an impressive second half cake for Saracens. A sixth try through Corinne Grant, which gets the flags waving, and the celebration started that little bit early.
It really does, doesn't it? And I think if you're a Bristol, it is a big old kick in the teeth, isn't it? To come away looking at that score here. Forwards went well, and again, it's just smart, isn't it? Really, really simple. Just move the ball, ran straight, move the ball. It's an easy run in. Good little dummy pump there from Jess Breach, you know, just to give Corinne Grant a bit more space on the edge. She holds out defenders. But yeah, I think that scoreline, if you're Bristol, is a big old one to take, isn't it?
It absolutely is, and just a glimpse there, you mentioned the double pump, the improving distribution of Jess Breach. We're so used to her scoring, but she's more than that now.
Yeah, and if you watched her in the game, she jumps in a lot more first receiver for Saracens today. I think she's done a really, really good job of that, you know, just improves her skills as a winger, but also just adds a different dynamic. If you're defending her, is she going to run, is she going to pass? And I'm not sure Sophie de Goody will be happy with that scoring that far to the touchline.
It's perfect, sealed with a kiss, and the first conversion of the afternoon. The big grin says it all. That was a peach.
Yeah, maybe this was what you needed. It just needs to be further away. The other ones were too close.
She likes them tough. Well, they called it the Christmas cracker, and what an almighty tussle it proved for 40 minutes. It's Saracens who get the gift, the paper crown, and the right to read out the joke. The punchline, they will start 2024 at the top of the league, unbeaten and seriously impressive.